Hello. Welcome everyone. Welcome to your midweek love break. This is so exciting. I'm so used to seeing you guys on for your midday love break, and we have changed things up a little bit. We are doing a midweek love break, and we're doing evenings. I really wanted to open up the information to so many more people. And you guys spoke, so I listened. And now we're doing these at night. So I'm really excited to have you guys here live. Feel free to put in any comments and make sure you can hear me. Give me a little comment. Say, we got you, Robin. We can hear you. I'm here on Facebook and Instagram. So wherever you're watching and joining me from, welcome. So glad to have you. Yay, I have some people popping in. I love it. Love to see you guys. So what better way to start off the new year than with a reboot? And since I am the happy couple expert, we're doing a relationship reboot. Yay! And for those of you who don't know me, welcome. I'm Robin D'Angelo. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist in Laguna Hills, California. I'm here in Southern California. And I am the founder of the Happy Couple Expert. And, you know, I just do my best to bring out information to the world and work with couples to help those that are really just disconnected and frustrated, and help you learn how to communicate, how to connect, and how to create that really epic relationship that lasts. And we're starting that off with our midweek love break tonight. So glad to have you guys here live. Since we're going to be talking about relationship reboot, it's important to understand and recognize that any kind of reboot, right? Like if we're rebooting a system, we kind of have to assess all the components that are involved. And over the next few weeks, we will be talking about the component that it's at the foundation, you guys, of a reboot of a relationship, and that is mindset. So we're going to be talking a lot about mindset. Think about it. Think about people who set New Year's resolutions. Maybe that's you. If you set a New Year's resolution, typically you're saying things that are action-oriented or behavior-oriented, right? You're saying, I want to make sure to get 8 hours of sleep a night. Wouldn't that be lovely? You're saying things like, I want to change my diet, or I want to make sure to get to the gym 4 times a week, starting this January. Here's the thing. If you're only looking at the behavior and you're setting this new resolution, if you will, and you're only looking at like, okay, so what is the new behavior I want to do? And you're leaving out the mindset, you're leaving out what's required to think about, what is it going to take for me to do this? What happens when I don't want to, right? If you're leaving out the mindset, more than likely, whatever you set out to accomplish will probably start to trail off around January 20th or so. Because you start to get frustrated, you start to lose motivation, the excuses pop in, or I have better things to do, or, a workout just doesn't work after I went out and had, 4 or 5 glasses of wine with my girlfriends, right? So all the things that come up that are physical, that are behaviorally, can get in the way of that if you don't have your mindset in check. And so if you take the time to sit down and think about, okay, it's kind of weird to say this, but like think about what you're thinking about. So we're starting with relationship reboot and doing mindset. And today we're starting with you who's watching us today. I have my Facebook people and my Instagram people. We're talking about your mindset. We're not talking about your mindset about anyone other than you. We're going to be talking about getting your mindset around yourself. So I'm not talking about how you think about your partner. I'm not talking about how you think about your relationship, but it's really, truly how you think about yourself. And I've got my notes here to keep me on track, you guys. So we're going to really be focusing on how do you think about yourself, because it really, truly impacts how you show up in your relationships. And how you think about your partner. And once we go through that, along the way, I'm going to be giving you guys 3 ways that you can actually boost this mindset. You can call it mindset, you can call it enhancing your self-esteem, you can call it creating more self-love, whatever you want to call it. It's how do I start getting my mindset, my thought process in the right space so that I can show up in my relationship. So let's start there. And just so you guys know, I know most of you here are aware, fully aware, that I am a love geek. But I'm also a brain geek. So I'm going to be sharing with you statistics and, the stats and the just little things that are going to help you to understand and give you a foundation of why we do what we do. Because, science. There's no arguing it. And I love science. So, okay, before I kind of start spitting out all the science at you guys, I want you to stop for just a moment. And I want you to just think about you for a moment. I want you to take a moment and just think to yourself, what are 3 things that I know to be true about myself? 3 things, that's it. What are 3 things that I believe about myself? And I just want you to think about it for a minute. And if you're feeling brave, which I know you guys are, or else you wouldn't be here, put them in the comments. Share with me 3 things that you believe to be true about yourself. And come on. The most effective way to learn, you guys, is to participate. So, 3 things. And I'll give you an example. Like for me, one thing, I just started doing yoga last month. So there's one thing. I'm a wife and I hate beets. So there's 3 things that I hold true about myself. Okay? What about you guys? Awesome. I'm awesome, lovable, and snarky. I love it, Tiffany. Love it. I want you to think more. What else? What else do you know to be true about you? Maybe it's roles that you hold. Maybe it's things that you do. I want to see what others are saying. Those of you that are here with me, I'm going to take a drink of water, give you some time to get your courage up and participate. And look at those 3 things. Share with us. I'm going to give you guys some examples of what I want you to do next. I want you to now think about, how do you feel about each of those 3 things? Like, what is your mindset about each of those 3 things? Like, for example, because when I think about, I started yoga. I started yoga last month. That's one thing I know to be true about me. And how do I feel about it? Well, I'm kind of stoked that I'm doing it. I'm challenging myself in a new physical way. And I get to share with my neighbor, who's a total yogi, which would be rad if she's watching today. I get to share with her my experiences. I also get to share with her my frustrations, right? So, but I feel kind of excited about, I'm doing this new thing. I'm doing yoga. I'm pushing myself. So what else, you guys? Think about what it is that you think about yourself. The second thing is true about me. I'm a wife. So if I were to ask myself, so how do I actually feel about being a wife? Those of you that know me and have watched these before, you know that I am not shy about saying I suck at marriage sometimes. And I would venture to guess that those of you watching who saw the title of this, Relationship Reboot, probably suck at being married sometimes. It happens to us all. So when I think about, okay, I'm a wife, I suck at being married sometimes, but I also know I work really hard and I'm committed to doing my best to be a grateful wife and to be a joyful wife. See the difference? I can name a truth that I know to be about myself. I'm a wife, but then you take it a step deeper and you think about, what's my mindset around that? Do I hate being a wife? Do I feel inadequate? Do I feel like I'm an awful wife? What's my thought process about it? What are my feelings about it? And the last one, I hate beets. And I could just say, you know what? I don't care. They're these little dirt nuggets and they are gross and I can't stand them. But what happens is I go to this place, and I'm just going to be totally transparent with you guys because I think that's the best way to learn and to teach. I start to think about, I hate beets, and I'm kind of self-conscious to say that around people. I live in Southern California. Everyone loves their beet salads. Bleh, gag me. But I get self-conscious because I think, well, what are people going to think about me, that I'm not healthy? And then it makes me think, if I don't like beets, what am I going to get at this restaurant that we're going to that's a whole salad place? I hope they have some that don't have beets and that don't have goat cheese, right? So there's thought processes about who we are and what we like and how we feel about it. Kara, you said, overgiver, short, like to make people laugh. Love it. You know these to be true about yourself. Now go back to each of those and say, how do I actually feel about those? Because I want you to keep in mind the way you feel about things that you know to be true about yourself, they change. They do change, right? Like one day, Carrie, you're overgiving. You might think, you know what? This brings joy to so many people. Maybe a week of overgiving, you're feeling like I'm wiped out. I'm totally wiped out. And because I have this mindset of I'm wiped out now and this doesn't bring me joy, your mindset and everything that's connected to that, like how you show up at work, how you show up for your kids, your partner, it's impacted. So I just want you guys to keep this in mind. I'll share a story with you. Something that I didn't understand. I mean, this is the very moment, you guys, when I realized, holy shit, the way I see myself and the way I think about myself really, truly impacts my relationship. And this is what happened. I was going through a period of time where I had hurt my feet. I had stress fractures in both of my feet from running. It was ridiculous. I was so pissed because those of you who know me know I like to run. And so I couldn't work out. However, did I change my diet? No, I still ate like I was running, a couple miles a day. So what happens naturally, I started putting on weight. Nothing crazy, but my clothes weren't fitting like they used to. And so what happened is, oh, Tiffany, your battery's dying. Bye. Join us again later. You can come watch it later. What happened was I started not being able to fit in my clothes. And apparently I was saying a lot of things out loud around my husband. Like he would get excited and say, oh my gosh, I just got a raise. Let's go celebrate. And instead of being excited with him, guess what my first response was? I have nothing to wear. Nothing fits. And he would say things like, wow, I know you had a really long day. Why don't we go out? Why don't we go out and grab a drink? What did my mind do? The first thing, none of my clothes fit. I have nothing to wear. I don't want to go. And it wasn't until he finally said to me, you know what? I just have to say, it's been really hard to hear you talking about yourself lately. And I'm like, what? I had no idea, you guys. I had no idea that I was in this mindset of nothing fits. I mean, I knew I was in it, but I didn't know I was like outwardly expressing it. And so he said, you know what? He said, it's actually impacting the way I look at you. And I said, what? He's like, it's starting to draw my attention to the areas that you complain about that I never saw as complainable areas. And I'm starting to see things that I didn't see before. I'm starting to notice these things because you're calling my attention to them. And I hate that because I think you're beautiful. And I love when you're comfy. Carrie, you said you keep going in and out. So if I don't respond, oh no. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm on Instagram too. Maybe I've got so much information and broadband going that it's having a hard time. Or maybe you're not in a good area. So anyways, that was the moment that I realized, holy shit, my mindset about me, not even about my partner, not about my job, not about anything, but about me was really impacting my relationship. So I want you guys to keep in mind when you're in that negative mental space, it's time for a reboot. It's time to enhance. It's time to take a look at it. It's time to go, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to recalibrate. And here's how you're going to do it. I'm going to give you guys a couple ways to do this. So if you need to write this down, write it down. If you need to come back and watch it later, come back and watch it later. But I just want you to keep this in mind. Oh, before I give you guys these steps, those of you who are big on Facebook, maybe you've seen this going around, but I just wanted to share this thing. Maybe you've heard about it. Let me know if you have. It's called What's in My Cup. Have you guys heard about this? Those of you that are here watching. It's this really great analogy about us. I'm just going to read it to you. It's super quick. And I want you guys to think about this. And as I'm reading this, I want you to ask yourself, what's in my cup? Okay? So it starts out like this. You're standing there and you're holding a cup of coffee, like a mug of hot coffee, right? And someone bumps into you or shakes you a little bit and it jolts you and you spill your coffee everywhere. Why'd you spill your coffee? And you might be thinking, well, duh, Robin, because somebody bumped into me, of course. But that's the wrong answer. You spilled the coffee because coffee is what's in your cup. Think about this for a minute, you guys. Had there been tea in your cup, you would have spilt tea. Had there been water in your cup, you would have spilt water. The point is, whatever is in your cup is going to get spilled when someone comes along and bumps you a little bit. When life shakes you up, when life bumps into you and things get rocky, you spill what's in your cup. Now, you don't blame the coffee, right? Like, you don't blame the person who walked up to you. You blame, oh my gosh, there's this coffee in my cup. It's just a reminder, you guys, that life is going to shake things up. You're going to get jolted every once in a while, and you're holding this cup all the time. And whatever is in your cup is going to come spilling out. So think about when you're walking around, you're the cup. What's in your cup? Are you full of frustration? Are you full of, are you self-conscious? Are you just not feeling confident? Are you feeling really guilty a lot? When things get difficult, that's the stuff that's going to come spilling out, right? So it's your opportunity to take a look and ask yourself, what's in my cup? You know, am I full of bitterness and anger and maybe overreacting? What's in my cup? Or am I full of gratitude? Am I full of joy? You know, and so when life shakes me up a little bit and life gets hard and bumpy, because you guys, it will 100% get bumpy. What's going to come spilling out? And this is important to realize. It's not just, you know, as you're going through hard times in life, it's all the time. So, first thing I want you guys to think about, this is getting to the how-tos. You're like, all right, Robin, so mindset, I get it. What's in my cup? Don't walk around bitching and complaining about my clothes not fitting, but what do I do about this? So glad you asked, because when I'm working with my couples and with my individuals, this is what we get to, right? Not just the why, but now what in the world do we do about this? So the first thing I want you guys to think about is get vulnerable. You've got to learn how to actually talk about the things. And I'm checking my notes. I want to make sure I stay on point with you guys. You have to learn how to talk about the things that are stressing you out in a way that actually invites your partner into the conversation, that doesn't make them go, oh God, or make them all of a sudden look at you like, who is this person? I've never seen this side of you, or I'm really tired of this side of you. And one way that you can start to do that, and by getting vulnerable, is you're talking about your feelings, right? I talked about earlier that I was complaining, I was feeling out of shape, and my clothes weren't fitting. But what I wasn't doing was I wasn't actually asking for what I needed. So there's a really great way to do this. So it's sharing about how I'm feeling, which is I'm just feeling really disconnected from my body. I'm feeling not good about myself right now. It would be so great. It'd be so great if we could just stay home and watch a movie together. So it's talking about how do we start talking about how we feel and then asking for what we need. This is one way to really change your mindset. And here's why. When you can confidently talk about what it is that you're feeling and what you need, there's an empowerment in that, right? When couples come to me and they say, Robin, we need help. We need help in our relationship. I'm so quick to say, all right, let's figure out what's getting in the way of you feeling empowered to ask for what you need. What's getting in the way of you not being able to say, hey, I'm here and this is what I'm feeling and this is what I need. Second thing I want you guys to do when it comes to a reboot and recalibrating your mindset about how you think about you is I need you to show yourself some compassion. And, self-compassion is simply how you respond to your own suffering and doing it in a very loving and caring way. I mean, think about if a friend of yours came to you and they were struggling and they were like, gosh, Sheila, who's watching? I'm just really stressed out. I'm having a really hard time and I'm in this funk. What would you say to them? Would you say, oh my God, get over it? Just pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just keep going. Give me a break. Stop being so sensitive. You would never say that to someone you care about. Why would we say that to ourselves? So if thoughts and feelings are the two things you have zero control over in your life, the thoughts and feelings coming in, think about what you do have control over. Any ideas for those of you watching? I'll give you a minute. What do you think you have control over? If you can't control the ideas that are coming in and how you're feeling about things that you experience, what in the world do you have control over? Because I promise you have control over something. I promise. It's how you respond. It's how you respond to the pain, to the frustration, to all of those things. So, compassion. Being compassionate to yourself. Showing yourself compassion like you would a friend. All right, you guys, last one. And this might sound pretty like, this is standard. But you wouldn't believe how many people, when they first reach out to me, and I ask about this, and they're like, Robin, this is what we're having a hard time with in our relationship, and we can't seem to, stop having the same fight over and over again. It's the same fight. Sound familiar? One of the first things I'll ask them is, how do you practice self-care? And then I get the eye roll because they think, self-care. Like, mani-pedis or doing a bath or going to the spa. You guys, self-care is not just luxuries. Self-care is, are you getting your basic needs met? Because guess what? I have some news for you. If you're not getting your basic needs met, like eating enough calories throughout the day, guess what tends to happen? This happens to me, you guys. Hangry. We get hangry. Oh, Steph, you were going to say your response. Yes. So you get hangry. Do you guys know this? Have you heard of this before? I definitely get hangry. Hangry is when you are so angry because you're hungry. It's when your blood sugar literally drops and your irritation level rises, which means your tolerance drops, right? And when I work with couples, what happens is I will ask them, how many times have you had the fight that you have, that same fight over and over again, and all of a sudden you just go, you know what, I can't even think straight, like I just need to get something to eat. That's hangry. So when you're talking about self-care, I want you guys to remember this, that if you have basic needs that are unmet, basic needs. Have you eaten today? Are you overheating? Are you just so hot you can't even think straight? Are you so thirsty that all you can focus on is, I need water, I need something? If you do not get your basic needs met, your difficulties, your frustrations, your stressors, the relationship stressors are magnified. Everything else is harder. Everything else is harder. So when we talk about this reset, right? We're doing this reboot, this mindset reboot. This is why the first step is working on and looking at yourself. Where am I at? We talked about the coffee. What's in your cup? So when you call me and say, Robin, we're ready to come in and get the work done. We're ready to come in and change our relationship and change our lives because we can't continue to have the same fight over and over again. I'm going to ask you, what have you been walking around with in your cup? What have you been spilling all over everyone when life gets hard? And when you have that same fight over and over again, like what's showing up? And how do we start to shift that? You already have 3 ways, right? So I just can't stress the importance enough of checking in with self first. Something I share with a lot of my couples when we're working together is, when we're in conflict and we're in argument and we do this, we blame, we finger point. Look what happens when you're pointing one finger at the other person. How many fingers are pointing back at you? 3 fingers. When we blame, there's so much still that's coming right back at us. There's so much that we are still contributing to where we're at. And what I want to do with these midweek love breaks is I want to give you guys simple tools, really simple, not necessarily easy. Hear me. Simple tools to start putting into place right away. And if you're watching this and you're saying, Robin, like these are great, but I'm the only one watching this right now and I can't get my partner to watch with me. Go back and have them watch with you. If you're feeling like, I love it, this sounds great, we need more, I want you to know that it starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with checking in with yourself and saying, okay, what do we need to do? We've tried it all. We try everything that we already know what we think is a good idea. And now it might be time to reach out and get that extra help. And if that's you, and if you're listening to this right now, reach out. If you are local in the Orange County area, San Diego, LA, whatever, reach out. Let's work together. Having an epic relationship and connecting and communicating, these are things that are possible. You just need the right help sometimes and the right tools. I had someone say to me once, if you broke your leg, would you wait 3 months before you went to the hospital and just I'll just wrap it up. It's cool. It's fine. I'll figure it out. And walk on that thing and put pressure on it and the bruising and the swelling and the bone not being reset. Is it worth all that pain to then go to the hospital and say, all right, I did my best to wreck it even more. Go in there and let's dig in and redo this. I don't want you guys hobbling in here on a broken leg. So there you guys have it. I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to hear your feedback if you guys have any questions about this topic. If you're wanting to know more about how do I have the reboot of my mindset, how do I start changing the way that I think about myself and I talk about myself, reach out. You guys can always email me, Robyn, ROBYN, at thehappycoupleexpert.com, or just message me straight here. And reach out, you guys, if you're in the area. Let's get working together. Otherwise, take a trip. Take a trip on down to Orange County. I do weekend and full day intensives with my couples that are private. So, all right, you guys, until next week, have such a great rest of your week. Go love each other, and I will see you guys again soon. Mwah! Big love. Bye.